The year 1948 marked a pivotal moment in history, witnessing the birth of the State of Israel and the beginning of a protracted conflict that continues to this day. For the Jewish people, it represented the culmination of a long-held dream for a homeland after centuries of persecution. However, for the Palestinian Arabs who had called this land home for generations, it marked the beginning of a painful exodus and a struggle for recognition and return. The creation of Israel was a complex and multifaceted event shaped by a convergence of historical, political and ideological factors. It was a time of immense upheaval and displacement, leaving an indelible mark on the lives of millions of people. This essay delves into the intricate narratives surrounding the birth of Israel, exploring the perspectives of both Jewish migrants who sought refuge and Palestinians who faced dispossession. By examining the historical context, major events, and the profound humanitarian impact, we aim to shed light on the enduring legacy of 1948 and its implications for the pursuit of a just and lasting peace in the region. The aim is not to present a simplistic or one-sided account, but rather to engage with the complexities of this historical moment and its ongoing ramifications. To comprehend the events of 1948, it is essential to delve into the historical backdrop that shaped the region. For centuries, Palestine, a land at the crossroads of civilizations, had been home to a diverse population, predominantly Arab Muslims, but also including a significant Jewish minority, as well as Christians and other religious groups. Jewish historical and religious connections to the land, often referred to as the biblical land of Israel, run deep, with Jerusalem holding particular significance as the city of David. For Jews worldwide, Palestine represented a spiritual homeland, a place of origin and longing. However, for centuries, Palestine had been under the rule of various empires, including the Romans, Byzantines, Ottomans and British. Throughout this time, the land witnessed periods of relative peace and coexistence, as well as times of conflict and displacement. The intricate tapestry of Palestinian society with its diverse religious and cultural communities developed over generations, forging a shared sense of belonging to the land. As the 19th century drew to a close, the rise of Jewish nationalism, known as Zionism, gained momentum. Motivated by a desire for a Jewish state in their ancient homeland, Zionist leaders began to advocate for Jewish immigration to Palestine, then under Ottoman rule. The horrors of World War II and the Holocaust, which saw the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany, further intensified the yearning for a Jewish homeland. The plight of Jewish refugees, displaced and traumatized, fueled international sympathy for the Zionist cause. While Palestine seemed to offer a beacon of hope for Jewish refugees fleeing persecution, their arrival in increasing numbers exacerbated existing tensions with the Arab population. The stage was set for a clash of aspirations and anxieties as both communities laid claim to the same land. In 1947, the United Nations voted to partition Palestine into two states, one Jewish and one Arab, with Jerusalem designated as an international city. The plan was met with mixed reactions, with Jewish leaders accepting it while Palestinian and Arab leaders rejecting it, arguing that it unfairly favored the Jewish minority. Following the UN vote, violence erupted, plunging the region into chaos. In May 1948, as the British mandate for Palestine came to an end, Israel declared its independence, triggering a war with neighboring Arab states. During the war and its aftermath, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes, becoming refugees in neighboring countries. This mass displacement, known in Arabic as the Nakba or catastrophe, created a humanitarian crisis of immense proportions. Section 5, a clash of narratives, different perspectives on a shared history. The events of 1948 are deeply contested, with Israelis and Palestinians holding divergent narratives about what transpired. For Israelis, it was a war of independence, a struggle for survival against hostile neighbors. The victory over Arab armies is celebrated as a triumph against all odds, a testament to the resilience and determination of the Jewish people. Conversely, for Palestinians, 1948 represents the Nakba, the catastrophe that led to their dispossession and exile. The memory of lost homes, villages and loved ones continues to shape Palestinian identity, and their struggle for justice and return. These competing narratives, often presented as mutually exclusive truths, highlight the challenge of reconciliation and the need for a more nuanced understanding of the past. Acknowledging the pain and suffering of both sides is essential for moving towards a shared future. Section 6, Living in the Shadow of Conflict, the Humanitarian Impact. The creation of Israel and the subsequent displacement of Palestinians had a profound and lasting humanitarian impact. The 1948 war created hundreds of thousands of refugees, many of whom ended up in overcrowded and impoverished camps in neighboring countries such as Lebanon, Jordan, and Syria. The loss of their homes, land, and livelihoods had a devastating effect on Palestinian communities, both physically and psychologically. Families were torn apart, and generations grew up in exile, carrying the trauma of displacement and the yearning for return. Furthermore, the conflict has led to ongoing violence, insecurity, and human rights violations. The construction of Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, the separation barrier, and the blockade of Gaza have further exacerbated the humanitarian crisis, restricting movement, access to resources, and opportunities for development. Section 7, The Ongoing Struggle, a Legacy of Displacement and Violence. Despite numerous attempts at peace negotiations, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains unresolved. The core issues that fueled the conflict in 1948, land, refugees, Jerusalem, and security, continue to be major stumbling blocks to achieving a just and lasting peace. The conflict has evolved over the decades, with new actors and dynamics emerging. However, the legacy of 1948, with its unresolved issues of displacement, dispossession, and occupation, continues to cast a long shadow over the region. The international community has a responsibility to uphold international law, protect human rights, and work towards a negotiated solution that addresses the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. Section 8. Voices from the ground, personal stories of loss and resilience. Beyond the political rhetoric and historical narratives, it is crucial to listen to the voices of ordinary Israelis and Palestinians whose lives have been directly impacted by the conflict. Their personal stories of loss, resilience, and hope provide a human face to this complex and often intractable conflict. Palestinian refugees, many of whom still hold keys to homes they were forced to flee decades ago, speak of their longing for return, their sense of loss and dispossession. Their stories highlight the enduring human cost of the conflict and the need for a just resolution that addresses their right of return. On the other hand, Israeli families who have lost loved ones in terrorist attacks or wars speak of their fear and insecurity, their desire for peace and security. Their stories underscore the importance of addressing Israel's legitimate security concerns while also recognizing the need for a just and equitable solution for both sides. Section 9. Conclusion towards a just and lasting peace. The creation of Israel in 1948 and the subsequent displacement of Palestinians remain deeply etched in the historical memory of the region. The conflict that ensued has had a profound and lasting impact on the lives of millions of people, leaving behind a legacy of trauma, displacement, and violence. Achieving a just and lasting peace requires a willingness to acknowledge the pain and suffering of both sides, to move beyond the blame game and engage in a genuine process of reconciliation. It demands a commitment to upholding international law, protecting human rights, and ensuring equality for all. Ultimately, a sustainable peace can only be built on a foundation of justice, equality, and mutual respect. It requires a paradigm shift from a zero-sum game to a win-win situation where both Israelis and Palestinians can live side by side in peace, security, and dignity.